Welcome, Drink with James, episode 171. It is a new week. I have a new glass with a fresh whiskey in it here. You guys know I have a bit of a glassware obsession. And I just got these. They're Diamond Point, which was like big in the 60s and has since not been very big. But I just saw Tiffany's did a gifting of some of their Diamond Point glasses, and they sent them to a few people I know, and I am shocked and offended that I didn't make it onto that PR list. So if anyone who works at Tiffany's sees this, if anyone connected with Tiffany's sees this, or if you just know someone there, maybe send it to them. I don't feel like I should have to ask, but I do feel like I am not a good fit for a lot of things, but expensive whiskey glasses is directly in my wheelhouse, and I feel like it was a pretty big oversight that I didn't get those glasses. But the problem is probably that Tiffany's is not a client, though they should be, and if they had access to the platform, I'm sure they would have seen what a whiskey lover I was and sent me the glassware. But if any of you guys out there want to do some sleuthing for me, kick a note over to your contact at Tiffany's PR. That would be great for me. Look, before we jump into it today, I want to talk about something I mentioned last year that connected with a lot of people, and I want to mention it again. We're going through budgeting season right now at FWRD. It's a 3-month process where we kind of figure out how much money do we think we're going to make next year, and to be able to do that, what are the strategic moves that we need to make, what are the hires we need to make, the investments we need to make, and do all of those things kind of ladder up to our larger financial goals. It's a fairly complex, involved process given that the scale of the company has changed. And I think something that influencers forget about is retention, right? And so we know every year what percentage of this year's clients and this year's money is going to come back to us next year. And so, we wish it was 100%. It's not. But you kind of take that number and you say, okay, I know I'm going to get that much again from my clients. And so if my goal is X, let's use easy numbers. Let's say you want to make $100,000 as an influencer next year, and you made $70,000 this year. And you say, I think I'll get $35,000 back from my clients from this year. Then you really need to make $65,000 of new money. I don't think influencers are thinking about retention and retaining their clients as much as they should. And if you don't have a list of every client that has ever paid you or you've ever worked with and how long it's been since that last collaboration, and if you're not working to re-engage those people and try and work with them again, you're doing yourself a big disservice. Probably the easiest way to increase the money that you can make next year is to increase your retention rate. If you do a good job and you stay on top of things like that, you should be able to get them to come back to you. But a lot of people just kind of are always looking for that next deal and chasing the next thing and not thinking about retaining. And, if you think about a lifetime value of a client, if you can get them to work with you 3 times a year for the next 5 years, you can turn that into a really big account. And it's why when you're pricing your post, you don't want to optimize for short-term, how much money can I make right now? You want to make sure that you can build them into a retained client that will come back and find value in the partnership and give you money for years to come. We'll put a poll up here actually. Let us know, do you want me to go more into how we build sales targets and how you can better project how much money you're going to make and change that, or are you not interested and you find it boring? Let us know up in the poll here, and we will talk about it or not, depending on those results. Question number 1, what are my thoughts about the new FWRD Givenchy launch that came out? So, for those of you who don't know, Givenchy launched a new bag with FWRD recently. They seem to have gifted it to quite a few influencers. What is shocking and disappointing in this day and age is that I'm looking right here at 28 influencers who posted about this bag within a day. So obviously, no fucking way they bought this bag. I don't think 28 people that all actually kind of look the same. There's actually a few problems with this list in general. There's not really a lot of diversity on it either. But 28 people all post about the same bag within the same day. How many people disclosed that it was gifted? 4 people. Luxury brands sometimes live in a fucking dream world where they don't think the rules really apply to them, and they don't want to be seen as having gifted someone something, and so they actively ask for influencers to not disclose those relationships. We 100% will never do that. We would never work with a brand that asked us not to disclose that something was gifted or that it was paid for in a partnership. There are real potential ramifications for you as an influencer. You could have been part of this Givenchy launch and thought, oh, this is fun, I just got a free bag, I'm gonna post about it, and they didn't want us to disclose, who cares? But when they bomb Instagram like this, and this was as of yesterday, maybe there's 40 or 50 people that have posted about it now, this like blatant cheating, this like blatant not following the rules, that's what gets the attention of the regulators over at the FTC. And if they decide to make an example of this campaign, it is you as an influencer that ends up getting impacted. The reason we won't do it, 1, it's against the law. 2, the FTC could tell us that we are not allowed to do influencer marketing for anyone for a number of years. This happened a number of years ago. There was a campaign with some retailer, I can't remember exactly who it was, where a lot of people got in trouble for this. So if a brand asks you not to disclose something, walk away, don't do it. If you don't think your audience can handle you telling them something is gifted, then you haven't done a good job building trust with them. But it is not worth risking your career to build a relationship with a luxury brand. If it's gifted, you have to say it's gifted. Okay, question number 2. Engagement rates seem to be what everyone's talking about right now, but what about reach? Look, if you've been watching the show for a while, you know that at 4, we don't really look at engagement rates. Reach and impressions are our kind of North Star. That is a big part of the way that we validate that you have a real, authentic, vibrant following. It is also a way that we report on the success of a campaign. If you looked at one of the reports that we give our clients, the first numbers you see are not engagement rates. They are reach numbers, impressions numbers, how many saves, how many clicks. Those numbers to us are more important than engagement. So it may feel like that is still what people talk about. I do think that less sophisticated marketers who are working in influencer marketing are still hyper-focused on engagement. But some of our top performing influencers on the platform, top performing as far as driving action and sales for our clients, have terrible engagement rates. But they have great reach. They have a really beautiful connection with their audience. They actually feel like there's a community there. Those are the things that we focus on. So for us, engagement rates aren't super important. With likes disappearing potentially in the next few months, I think that they'll be less important platform-wide in the not-so-distant future. So if you're focused on reach, you're doing the right thing, keep your head down, the world will change and you will be right very soon. Question number 3, any tips on how to figure out how to get more engagement? Now, I just told you engagement wasn't important. That is kind of true to us. Engagement isn't as important of a metric of success for us, and it's not as important of a metric of validating whether we want to work with an influencer. It does still largely drive the algorithm. Unfortunately, it is the most common input into Instagram. It's your most common, other than scrolling, it's the most common thing that you do is like something. And so engagement is a big driver of the algorithm. And to get great reach, you do need to probably get pretty good engagement. It does happen that you can have less than great engagement and decent reach. Usually we see that when someone has like really engaged stories, but I digress. What can you be doing to get more engagement today? I think we're going to throw some examples up here real quick, and it's just a very small example, I think, of what you can do tomorrow to improve your engagement. I have a friend, she's an artist, she's super talented, she lives upstate. She messaged me and said, she sent me this photo here, and she said, "What's going on with Instagram? I hate it. This is the worst engagement I've ever gotten." And I was like, I have a couple ideas for you. Let's chat. She came in, we had lunch. She was telling me the story how she had just had her second baby, and she generally would do her art from like 10 p.m. to 2 in the morning, but because of the children and because she had to get up so early, she just hasn't had as much time to be creative. She hasn't had as much time to work late at night as she wants. And so the collection of art that she just released is really pared down, and it's really kind of minimalist and stark. And some of that was because she just didn't have time to work on it, but it also for her felt like a representation of kind of where she was in her life. And I sat there and I was like, okay, that's the story. If you looked at her first post, it just said, "Hey, here's some new work that I'm releasing." And it got like 77 likes. And then I said, you know what? Post essentially the same photo again. Post the photo of that work again, but tell that story in your caption. Just tell a little more personal story. And the next day, she posted a photo of the art again. She told that story, and it got like 270 likes and 30 comments, right? So almost, 4 times as much engagement? 400% increase in engagement, just on the caption, right? And I think that people underestimate captions, one, and they underestimate, what stepping back and taking the time to actually think about what story you want to tell, and think about what we talk about: educate, inspire, entertain. Are you doing those things? Or are you just dialing it in and saying, "Oh shit, I need to Instagram post for today. Let me just grab this photo and I'll say Monday vibes," or something. Like, that is a bullshit post, and it's going to get bullshit engagement. I think what, a big takeaway from Quigley's episode was how much time she's spending on her captions, and that she thinks first about what she wants to say, and then she translates that into a photo. And for my friend who's an artist upstate, who's not trying to be an influencer, but is feeling the same frustrations y'all are, that engagement is harder to get, when she kind of opened up and told a real story about herself and was a little vulnerable, 400% increase in engagement. Like, you can do that today. You can say that my next post, I'm going to try and say something impactful. I'm going to try and say something that is honest and true and feels like something that is worth spending a minute reading and double tapping and liking. Because I don't care about your Monday vibes. That's not interesting to me. That doesn't get me closer to you. It's just you throwing noise into my feed. And you can't throw noise into people's life and expect them to thank you for it. So that is my piece of advice. Okay, guys. That is it for me. As always, drop us questions, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.